Welcome to Ping 24 Updates, your daily dose of what's happening around the world. Subscribe my channel and press the bell icon for more updates. In 2025, the Philippines showed the world that no nation is too small to demand respect. 5 world leaders from 5 powerful countries made the mistake of underestimating the Filipino spirit. Their careless words sparked outrage, ignited a global movement, and ultimately destroyed their own careers. This isn't just about politics, it's about dignity, unity, and a nation's refusal to be belittled. The Philippines didn't just respond, it reshaped its place on the world stage. These leaders thought their insults would be forgotten. Instead, they triggered a firestorm. This is the story of how 5 powerful people lost everything, all because they insulted the Philippines. It started in March at the European Naval Forum in Marseille. French President Jacques Morel, known for his arrogance, used the Philippines as an example of weakness. Nations like the Philippines, they have spirit, yes, but what is spirit against steel? They are but a small boat in a vast turbulent ocean. The Filipino delegation sat in stunned silence. The phrase, "small boat in a vast turbulent ocean," was replayed endlessly back home, fueling outrage. Social media exploded with #SmallBoatBigHeart as Filipinos shared stories of resilience and pride. The government recalled its ambassador from Paris and demanded a public apology. French businesses panicked as boycotts loomed. Morel tried to downplay the incident, but the video was clear. There was no context to soften his condescension. Other Southeast Asian nations rallied behind the Philippines, seeing the insult as a slight to the entire region. Under mounting pressure, Morel issued a public apology. But the damage was done. His approval ratings collapsed, and his presidency began to unravel. What he thought was a throwaway line became the crack that shattered his career. The world learned never underestimate the pride of a so-called small boat. The Philippines had made its voice impossible to ignore. Morel's fall was swift, and the message was clear. Respect is not optional. The incident set the tone for a year where the Philippines would not back down. The world was watching, and so was every Filipino. The lesson: words matter and dignity cannot be dismissed. The Philippines had turned an insult into a rallying cry. Morel's legacy? A cautionary tale for leaders everywhere. The first domino had fallen. As the French scandal faded, a new blow came from an unexpected source: Japan. In May, Japanese Defense Minister Koji Nakamura, under pressure in Parliament, called the Philippine Navy a supplementary force at best. The words stung, a supposed ally reducing the Philippines to a sidekick. Outrage erupted in Manila. Military officials and veterans felt betrayed. The Philippine government rebuked Japan. "We are a nation of equals. Our soldiers are second to none." Negotiations for a landmark military agreement stalled overnight. Protests erupted outside the Japanese embassy. Trust built over decades was suddenly in jeopardy. In Tokyo, the fallout was immediate. Prime Minister Kishida was furious. Nakamura had undermined years of diplomacy. Nakamura tried to walk back his words, but supplementary force was now a national insult. The partnership was shaken, and the phrase became a symbol of inequality. Under immense pressure, Nakamura resigned, bowing deeply in apology. His career ended, not by scandal, but by a few careless words that broke a sacred trust. The Philippines had shown it would not accept being treated as less than an equal. The alliance survived, but only after Japan learned the cost of disrespect. The world took note. Alliances are built on respect, not hierarchy. The Philippines' message was clear: never underestimate the value of dignity. Nakamura's fall was a warning to all who would look down on their partners. The year's second lesson: trust, once broken, is hard to rebuild. The Philippines stood taller than ever. Another leader, another career in ruins. July brought another insult. this time from Australia. Senator Troy Wallace, during a heated debate, called the Philippines a banana republic. The chamber erupted. The slur was a throwback to colonial arrogance. The Philippines immediately declared Wallace persona non grata and froze all bilateral talks. Filipino communities in Australia mobilized, organizing massive protests and demanding accountability. Wallace doubled down, refusing to apologize, but his own party soon turned against him. Business leaders warned of economic fallout. The government issued a formal apology, but Manila demanded more. Wallace was stripped of his committee positions and forced to issue a public apology. His political influence evaporated. He became a pariah in his own country. The insult had backfired spectacularly, uniting Filipinos at home and abroad. The Philippines proved it would not tolerate being dismissed as a caricature. The freeze on relations sent a powerful message: respect is non-negotiable. Wallace's career was over, a casualty of his own arrogance. The world saw that colonial slurs have no place in modern diplomacy. The Philippines had turned another insult into a moment of unity and strength. The lesson: never underestimate the power of a nation's pride. The year's third leader had fallen. The Philippines' resolve only grew stronger. The world was learning, one insult at a time. In autumn, the controversy hit home for Filipinos abroad. UK Prime Minister Elizabeth Harrow, defending immigration policy, dismissed Filipino healthcare workers as low-skilled. The comment was a slap in the face to thousands who kept the NHS running, especially during the pandemic. Filipino nurses and doctors spoke out, sharing their stories and demanding respect. The Philippine government lodged a formal complaint and considered halting worker deployment to the UK. British media was flooded with stories of Filipino dedication and sacrifice. Harrow's clarification fell flat. Her words had already revealed a deep prejudice. Her approval ratings plummeted, and her party was thrown into turmoil. The opposition seized the moment, framing Harrow as ungrateful and out of touch. Filipino healthcare professionals threatened to leave, sending shockwaves through the NHS. Harrow's desperate hospital visit was seen as insincere. The damage was done. Her leadership fatally wounded. A leadership challenge soon followed, ending her premiership. The Philippines had shown the world the true value of its people. The lesson: never underestimate the contribution of those you depend on. Another leader's career ended by a careless insult. The world was watching and learning. The Philippines' dignity could not be denied. The final, most dangerous insult came from China. General Jiang Weiyu threatened to crush the Philippines, calling them a gnat buzzing in the ear of a dragon. The threat was meant to intimidate, but it had the opposite effect. The Philippine president responded on national TV, "We may be a smaller nation, but our spirit is not small. We will not be crushed." The world rallied behind the Philippines. America, Japan, Australia, and the EU condemned China's threat. Instead of isolating the Philippines, Jiang's words united its allies. The US increased its military presence. The EU called for de-escalation. China, facing global backlash, needed a scapegoat. General Jiang was forced into retirement, disgraced, and removed from power. The incident showed that even the most powerful nations cannot threaten smaller ones with impunity. The Philippines had faced down the dragon and stood tall. The world saw the strength of a united nation. Jiang's career was over, a victim of his own arrogance. The lesson: threats only strengthen the resolve of the brave. The Philippines had turned intimidation into international solidarity. The year's final insult had backfired spectacularly. The world had changed, and so had the Philippines' place in it. The message was clear: dignity is a power no one can take away. The Philippines had won respect, not by force, but by unity. The world would never forget. 5 leaders, 5 insults, 5 careers destroyed. 2025 became the year the Philippines taught the world a lesson in respect. The message was clear: The dignity of the Filipino people is not negotiable. Power isn't just about might, it's about spirit and unity. The Philippines proved it could weather any storm and stand as an equal. Which leader made the worst mistake? Has the world finally learned to respect the Philippines? Thank you for watching. Let the world know, dignity is a power no nation can take away.